Hello, this is Reverend Don Lewis, and welcome to Living the Wiccan Life. Recently I had the great honor of appearing at the first annual Witchsfest USA held in Union Square in downtown New York City and sponsored by the Wiccan Family Temple. It was a wonderful event and I really enjoyed it, and I brought back lots of footage for Living the Wiccan Life. In this installment, we will speak with Hektuba Hestia, with Kenny Klein, and we'll see performances by Kenny Klein and Witches in Bikinis. I'm sure you're going to enjoy it.
Witchsfest USA in New York City.
Hi, I'm Reverend Hektuba Hestia, High Priestess of the Wiccan Family Temple.
And where are we?
We are at Witchsfest USA, and I am part of the staff, and we are making history here today. We are the first festival in New York City put on by the temple, and we usually have Pagan Pride, but we're the first temple to actually get together a whole bunch of authors and do something as big as this.
Wonderful, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
How is it going so far?
I think it's going very well. We have a lot of people showing up, we're having classes, and we have all the great authors here that are teaching, and we have entertainment, we have vendors, we have wishing well for donations, and hopefully that's getting a lot of money for our temple.
So what caused you to decide to do this as a temple?
One, because we needed a fundraiser for our temple. That's the main reason. And two, it was time for somebody to do something this huge within the New York City community. And it helps to promote our temple itself and the classes that we teach and all sorts of things like that.
Now, how is the New York community?
That depends on who you ask. But I think, we have thousands of Wiccans or witches within the community itself. We have several different stores within all 5 boroughs. And, a whole bunch of things going on all the time. Like I said, we have this, and we have public circles that people gather for the S-spots and for the Sabbats, and we've gotten anywhere from 10 people all the way up to 40 and 50 people at some of our Sabbats.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
So is this going to be an annual event?
Absolutely. We're planning to do this every single year, and each year we do it, it's probably going to get better. And not only that, we plan to also how do I put it? Just make it better each and every year. Wonderful.
Now, how did you come to this path?
That's a very interesting story for myself. For me, I started out as a Jewish person. During college, I discovered Wicca, but fell away from it and became an Orthodox Jew for 10 years. Yes. And then I found that wasn't totally the path for me. I found myself falling away from that. And while I was with my ex-husband, I knew I had to move back to this path itself. And after I left him, within 6 months, I came along, and the first thing that I discovered was actually witch school, and it helped me so much to learn and to grow in my abilities and stuff like that, and eventually moved along and found the Wiccan Family Temple, and have learned a lot through them. I'm now a licensed reverend here in New York City, and we have several of them. We perform hand fastings, and New York City also recently enacted the laws where gay people can get married, finally. And I personally perform hand fastings for all sorts of people, between gay people, straight, poly couples, if they're interested, whatever, as long as it can be done, we can do it.
Wonderful. Is there anything else you'd like to say about the festival?
Come on down. Keep it in mind for next year. New York City is a great place, and it's one of the few cities, believe it or not, you know, where you can be who you are and nobody's going to look second nature at you. And, you know, it's really great.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
If people would like to learn more about the Wiccan Family Temple or about the Witches Fest, where would they go?
Okay, for Witches Fest, it's www.witchsfestusa.org. And that's for Witches Fest. And for the Wiccan Family Temple, it's wiccanfamilytemple.org. Or you can also check out Charmed by Star, that's CHARMED by Star, STARR.com.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome, Reverend.
I'm Kenny Klein. I'm a musician and an author. I've been playing music in the pagan community for 30 years now. I have a couple of dozen CDs out. A dozen available at the moment, and I'm the author of Fairy Tale Rituals and Through the Fairy Glass, both on LWL, and I'm the author of The Flowering Rod, a book about men and paganism, which is currently on Amanian Press.
And you've been in the community for many, many decades.
Many decades.
How did you come to the community?
I lived here in New York City in the 70s. And I bopped around the Magical Child, the cult shop, and I also, when Enchantments opened in the early 80s, I was bopping around Enchantments, and I discovered the community that way. Blue Star Coven was doing the Pagan Way class, the open pagan class at Enchantments, and I ended up joining Blue Star and getting my initiations up to 3rd degree from Blue Star, and I still practice Blue Star today. So everything happened just about 8 blocks that way.
Now, you've produced a great deal of music.
I have.
Do you have any piece that's your favorite?
Any piece that's my favorite? Everything, my favorite is always the newest thing I've done. My newest CD is called Black Cat Blues. It is one of the 2 CDs I've done that is New Orleans style jug band and blues music with pagan lyrics. And my song Mandrake from that CD is probably my favorite right now because it's new and I'm listening to it and I'm performing it. Next year when I have a new CD out, that'll be my favorite.
Now, do you find that your music is part of your spirituality? And if so, how does it affect you?
Both ways. My music is part of my spirituality is part of my music. I've always been a professional musician. I've done everything from working in bands on cruise ships to playing jazz at home and blues. Music is just the way I've always expressed myself. I worked my way through college in a country band, and it was a very natural thing for me when I invested myself spiritually in the pagan community to begin writing pagan songs. It's just what I was involved in and what I wrote about. And I found a niche as a pagan songwriter and performer, and now I feel like, well, I felt for years that pagan music was in a Celtic style, probably from the earliest pagan music in the late 70s. And I wrote a lot of pagan music in Celtic styles on my first CDs, and now I feel like there's room for pagan musicians to explore many other styles. So I'm working with blues, bluegrass, jug band music. Other bands I see on the festival circuit are working with drum and chant, trance style music. Some of them are working more with other American styles, different than the ones I do. So I think there's, right now, pagan music is sort of opening up stylistically, and the audience is there to follow. 20 years ago, they weren't. Everybody wanted to hear ethereal Celtic music 20 years ago. Now I think the pagan community is big enough that whatever you play, there's going to be an audience for it.
I would ask where you want to see pagan music go in the future, but I think you just told me.
I want to see people buy more Kenny Klein CDs. That's what I'm really invested in. But I also want to see more styles, more style options. I want to see people doing pagan progressive jazz. I'd like to see people doing more. I have always wanted, and I don't know that it's ever going to happen, but I've always wanted to do a pagan mod album. And I don't know that I'll ever do it, simply because I don't have a drummer that I want to use on a project in New Orleans. I use a lot of washboard and other percussion down in New Orleans. If I had a drummer who could do the mod style, I'd definitely go ahead with a pagan mod album, but someone else should do it. I want to see all these styles become accepted by pagans, and for pagans to say, today I'm not going to listen to ethereal Celtic, today I'm going to listen to jug band, today I'm going to listen to mod pagan music. I think that the pagan community at large has not really picked up on the resource of pagan music. So that's something I'd like to see, is all of these pagan musicians being supported by our community.
Yes, indeed. Now, other than yourself, who is your favorite pagan musician?
I love a band right now called Lunar Fire. They're out of Denver. They do a lot of festivals. Superb band. About half the band is Mesoamerican Hispanic, meaning they're from Mayan and Incan cultures. So they do a lot of pagan drum and chant infused with Spanish lyrics, and they also rap as well as sing. They're a very exciting act. They have fire spinners. I spend a lot of time on the road with Kellyanna, and she's her chant workshop is a very exciting workshop right now. When she gets on stage and chants, to me it's kind of same old, although other people love her. But I love her chant workshop because she really puts it in the hands of festival goers and teaches them how to very effectively use chant as a medium. I've been listening a little bit to Incas. The Moors, I love the Moors. They broke up, but they're a late 2000, I think 2007, 2008 band from Boston that do amazing tribal Celtic pagan music. Awesome band.
Wonderful. Now, if people wanted to learn more about you, or if they want to buy your albums, where do they go?
www.kennyklein.net. K-L-E-I-N. My last name is spelled just like the name on the underwear. KennyKlein.net. They can also just go to iTunes and look up Kenny Klein.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me.
Godzilla knocked down every building inside. The whole city prayed as it took its last breath. With some man coming from Jesus versus Godzilla. Godzilla.
one guitar and one vocal version of my song Mandrake from my new CD, Black Cat Blues. On the CD, it's done completely a cappella, and it's also done with a full band. So this is going to be the one guitar, one voice version. I was down in Holt Cemetery, lying neath the tall oak stand, when I saw a man in a vision with a heron feather in his hand. Take me down, Papa Lake. Take me now where I stand. I'll draw your sign at the crossroads, and I'll wait for the shadowed land, where I dreamed that I was flying over the river's tide, higher than the heron or the curlew, and I lit by the waterside. Take me down, Papa Lake. Take me now where I stand. I'll draw your sign at the crossroads and wait for the shadowed land. But when I woke up in the morning, ashy smoke was all I could see. I'm a-going down to the crossroads and tell Papa Leg for my dream. Take me down, Papa Leg. Take me now where I stand. I'll draw your sign at the crossroads, and I'll wait for the shadowed land. Didn't come from no loving family, ain't going to no promised land. I'm a-going down to the crossroads with a mandrake in my hand. Take me down, Papa Leg. Take me now where I stand. I'll draw your sign at the crossroads, and I'll wait for the shadowed land. Thank you.
Originally, there'd been a number of musical performances planned for Witchsfest USA, but when it became clear that there was not going to be artificial amplification, a number of them backed out. Witches and Bikinis, however, had enough confidence in their skills to perform without artificial amplification, so in the clip you just saw, the music is being played on a boombox, and the ladies are singing completely without amplification of any sort. And I think you'll agree that they made the right decision and were more than capable of holding their own without amplification. I hope you'll join us for part 2 of our episode, when we'll talk with star Ravenhawk, with blogger Jason Mankey, and we'll see more of Witches and Bikinis.